Welcome to our channel, where we explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Whether you're an experienced coin collector or just beginning your journey, we are here to help you understand the true value of the coins you might have in your collection. Today, we will be talking about the mysterious and intriguing 2014 Canadian 1-cent coin. This is an unusual topic because, as many of you may already know, the Royal Canadian Mint officially stopped producing pennies in 2012. But what if you come across a 2014 Canadian penny? Could it be rare, valuable, or even a mistake from the mint? Stay with us until the end of the video to find out the truth behind this coin and whether it holds any real value in the collector's market. The history of the Canadian penny and why. 2014 is an interesting year. Before we dive into the details of a possible 2014 Canadian penny, let's take a quick look at the history of Canada's 1-cent coin. The first Canadian penny was minted in 1858, featuring Queen Victoria on the obverse and a wreath of maple leaves on the reverse. Over the years, the design changed multiple times, with different portraits of Queen Elizabeth II appearing from 1953 onward. The reverse design of the penny, featuring 2 maple leaves on a twig, remained mostly unchanged since it was introduced in 1937 by artist G.E. Kruger Gray. For decades, the Canadian penny was a common coin used in everyday transactions. However, by the early 2000s, the cost of producing pennies began to exceed their face value due to rising metal prices and production expenses. In response, the Canadian government announced in 2012 that the penny would be discontinued. The last official pennies were minted on May 4, 2012, and by 2013, they were no longer being distributed. Businesses and banks stopped using them, and Canada officially moved away from pennies, encouraging rounding prices to the nearest 5 cents for cash transactions. This means that, officially, no 2014 Canadian pennies should exist. But what if you happen to find one? Could a 2014 Canadian penny be real? If you come across a 2014 Canadian penny, there are a few possible explanations. First, it could be a novelty item or a privately made replica. Some companies and private mints create coins with unofficial dates for educational purposes or as commemorative pieces. These fantasy coins are not legal tender and were never issued by the Royal Canadian Mint. They are often sold as collector's items, but they do not hold much numismatic value compared to official mint-issued coins. Another possibility is that a 2014 penny could be a mint error. Though highly unlikely, mistakes sometimes happen at mints around the world, leading to coins with incorrect dates being produced. If a 2014 penny were to be found and verified as a genuine error from the Royal Canadian Mint, it would likely be an incredibly rare piece and could be worth a significant amount of money. However, no verified reports of a genuine 2014 Canadian 1-cent coin from the Royal Canadian Mint exist at this time. How to check if your 2014 penny is genuine. If you believe you have a 2014 Canadian penny, the best way to verify its authenticity is to have it examined by a professional coin grading service such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. A professional coin dealer or numismatist can also help determine whether it is a real mint-issued coin, a private mint fantasy piece, or even a well-made counterfeit. If your coin turns out to be an unofficial piece, it may still have some value as a novelty or collector's item, but it will not carry the same historical and monetary worth as an officially minted coin. What is the most valuable modern Canadian penny? Since there is no official 2014 Canadian penny, what are some of the most valuable Canadian pennies from recent years? The last official pennies produced in 2012 are considered collectible, especially in mint condition. Rolls of uncirculated 2012 pennies or special proof sets can sell for more than face value. Other valuable Canadian pennies include the 2006 No P and No Logo pennies, which were mistakenly struck without the Royal Canadian Mint's mark. These error coins can sell for hundreds of dollars in high-grade condition. Older Canadian pennies from the early 20th century, particularly the 1923 and 1925 issues, are also highly sought after by collectors. Conclusion: is a 2014 Canadian penny worth anything? In summary, there are no officially minted 2014 Canadian pennies, so if you find one, it is likely a novelty item or a fantasy piece. While it may still hold some collector's value, it is not an official legal tender coin. If you do happen to come across a 2014 Canadian penny, consider having it examined by a professional to determine its authenticity. While 2014 pennies may not exist, there are still plenty of valuable and collectible Canadian pennies from earlier years. If you have a collection of old pennies, it is always worth checking their dates and conditions to see if you might have a rare or high-value coin. Next up, the 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin, covering its history, design, rarity, and current market value. If you have one of these pennies, you might be wondering if it's worth more than just 1 cent. Stay with us until the end to find out. The history of the Canadian 1-cent coin. The Canadian penny has a long history, first introduced in 1858, when Canada was still a British colony. Over the years, its design changed several times, with different portraits of the reigning monarch appearing on the obverse. From 1937 onwards, the reverse design featured 2 maple leaves on a twig, a classic design by artist G. Kruger Gray. By the late 20th century, Canada's pennies were becoming increasingly expensive to produce due to rising metal costs. The government eventually decided to discontinue the penny, with the last ones minted in 2012. However, the 1999 penny remains a part of this long history and is still found in collections today. Design and composition of the 1999 Canadian penny. The 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin features the familiar 2 maple leaves on a twig on the reverse side, designed by G. Kruger Gray. The obverse features a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which had been updated in 1990 to show a more mature depiction of the Queen, designed by artist Dora de Pettery Hunt. The 1999 penny was struck in copper-plated zinc, a composition introduced in 1997 to replace the earlier copper-plated steel and bronze varieties. This change was made to reduce production costs while maintaining the coin's traditional appearance. Mintage and rarity. The Royal Canadian Mint produced a very large number of 1-cent coins in 1999, making them relatively common. However, certain factors can make some 1999 pennies more valuable than others. These include condition. Uncirculated or high-grade examples, especially those graded MS 65 or higher, can fetch higher prices among collectors. Minting errors. Some error coins, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or double strikes, can significantly increase the coin's value. Proof and special strikes, specially issued proof sets, which feature a higher quality strike with polished surfaces, are more sought after by collectors. Current market value of the 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin. In circulated condition, most 1999 Canadian pennies are worth only their face value of 1 cent. However, if you have a well-preserved or uncirculated example, it could be worth more. Here's a general breakdown of its estimated value. Circulated condition, $1,000 to $1,500, uncirculated condition, MS-60 to MS-64. $1,000 to $3,000 high-grade mint state, MS-65 or higher. $2,000 to $5,000 or more. Proof versions. $5,000 to $8,000 depending on the set and condition. Error coins can vary significantly in value, with some rare mistakes fetching upwards of $6,000 or more depending on the type of error. If you believe you have an error coin, it's best to get it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Should you keep your 1999 Canadian penny? If you have a 1999 Canadian penny, it's worth keeping if it's in excellent condition or if you suspect it might have an error. While most 1999 pennies are common, they still hold historical significance as part of Canada's long-running 1-cent coin series. Additionally, as time goes on and fewer pennies remain in circulation, their value may increase. Conclusion. The 1999 Canadian 1-cent coin is not considered rare, but in uncirculated condition or with an error, it could be worth more than face value. If you're a collector, it's always a good idea to check your coins for minting errors or high-grade examples that could be more valuable. Next up, the 2007 Canadian 1-cent coin. While pennies may not be in circulation anymore, some of them can be worth more than just 1 cent. So if you have a 2007 Canadian penny, stay with us until the end to find out if it has any special value. The history of the Canadian 1-cent coin. The Canadian 1-cent coin has been an important part of Canada's currency since 1858. Over the years, it has undergone several design changes, but the most well-known version features 2 maple leaves on a twig. This design, created by G. Kruger Gray, remained on the penny from 1937 until the last Canadian penny was minted in 2012. By 2007, Canada had already begun discussions about discontinuing the penny due to its increasing production cost. Even though the coin had a face value of 1 cent, it cost more to produce than it was worth. However, the 2007 penny remains a part of this long history and is still found in collections today. Design and composition of the 2007 Canadian penny. The 2007 Canadian 1-cent coin features the classic maple leaves on a twig on the reverse, designed by G. Kruger Gray. The obverse displays a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Susanna Blunt, which had been introduced in 2003. This portrait is unique because it does not include a crown, unlike previous designs of the Queen on Canadian coins. By 2007, the composition of the penny had changed significantly. Instead of being made of copper, as earlier pennies were, the 2007 version was made of copper-plated steel. This was done to reduce production costs while still keeping the coin's familiar appearance. Mintage and rarity. The Royal Canadian Mint produced millions of pennies in 2007, making them quite common. However, some versions of the 2007 penny can be worth more due to certain factors. Condition. Uncirculated or high-grade examples, MS65 and above, can fetch higher prices among collectors. Minting errors. Some 2007 pennies may have errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, or doubling, which can make them more valuable. Proof versions, special proof coins, which were made for collectors, have a shinier and more detailed finish and can be worth more. Current market value of the 2007 Canadian 1-cent coin. Most 2007 Canadian pennies are still only worth their face value of 1 cent, but certain conditions and errors can increase their value. Here's a general breakdown of its estimated worth. Circulated condition, $80 to $150. Uncirculated condition, MS60 to MS64. $150 to $200. High-grade mint state, MS65 or higher. $200 to $300. Proof versions, $400 to $700 error coins. Depending on the type of error, rare mistakes can be worth $500 or more. If you think you have an error coin or a high-grade example, you might want to get it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Should you keep your 2007 Canadian penny? If you come across a 2007 Canadian penny, it's a good idea to check its condition and look for any unusual features. While most of these coins are common, a well-preserved or error version could be worth holding on to. Additionally, as time passes and fewer pennies remain in circulation, their value may increase. Conclusion. The 2007 Canadian 1-cent coin may not be extremely rare, but it's still an interesting part of Canada's numismatic history. If you have one in uncirculated condition or with a minting error, it could be worth more than just 1 cent. Always take the time to check your coins carefully. You never know when you might have a hidden treasure in your collection. Next up, the 2002 Canadian 1-cent coin. We'll explore its history, design, mintage, possible errors, and current market value. Stay with us until the end to find out if your 2002 penny is a valuable collector's item. History of the Canadian 1-cent coin. The Canadian penny has a long and fascinating history, dating back to its first issue in 1858. Over the years, the design and composition of the penny have changed several times, but the most iconic design, featuring 2 maple leaves on a twig, was introduced in 1937. By the early 2000s, the Royal Canadian Mint had made several adjustments to the penny's composition to reduce production costs. The 2002 Canadian penny was struck at a time when the Mint had already switched to copper-plated zinc for regular circulation pennies, making them lighter than earlier versions. Design and composition of the 2002 Canadian penny. Like previous years, the 2002 Canadian 1-cent coin features a classic design, obverse, front, a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Dora de Pettery Hunt. This portrait, introduced in 1990, shows the Queen wearing a crown. Reverse, back. The famous 2 maple leaves on a twig, designed by G.E. Kruger Gray, which has been used since 1937. Composition. The 2002 penny was primarily made of copper-plated zinc, weighing 2.25 grams with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. One interesting feature of the 2002 penny is that it was one of the last years before the Mint transitioned entirely to copper-plated steel in 2000 for some issues. However, zinc and steel versions of the penny circulated simultaneously, which is why some variations exist. Mintage and rarity. The Royal Canadian Mint produced 716,300,000 pennies in 2002, making them relatively common. However, certain factors can increase their value. High-grade coins, pennies in mint state condition, especially those graded MS65 or higher, are harder to find and more valuable. Minting errors. Some 2002 pennies may have errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks, which can significantly increase their worth. Proof-like and specimen versions. The Royal Canadian Mint also released proof-like and specimen sets containing 2002 pennies, which are worth more than regular circulated coins. Current market value of the 2002 Canadian 1-cent coin. Most 2002 Canadian pennies found in circulation are still worth their face value, but well-preserved and rare varieties can sell for higher prices. Circulated condition, $100 to $300, uncirculated condition, MS60 to MS64, $100 to $200, high-grade mint state, MS65 or higher, $200 to $500 or more, proof and specimen coins, $500 to $800, depending on condition and demand. If you suspect your 2002 penny has a mint error, it's a good idea to have it examined by a professional grading service, as some error coins have sold for $500 or more in auctions. Should you keep your 2002 Canadian penny? While the 2002 penny is still relatively common, finding one in pristine condition or with a rare error can make it valuable to collectors. Since Canada officially stopped producing pennies in 2012, many older pennies are gradually becoming more sought after. It's always worth checking your collection to see if you have a high-grade or rare variant. Conclusion. The 2002 Canadian 1-cent coin may not seem valuable at first glance, but in the right condition, it can be worth more than just 1 cent. If you have a 2002 penny, check its condition and keep an eye out for minting errors. Next up, the 2006 Canadian 1-cent coin. You might have one in your pocket change, but did you know that some versions of this coin can be worth more than a single cent? Stay with us as we discuss its history, design, mintage, possible errors, and current market value. Let's find out if your 2006 penny is a valuable collector's item. History of the Canadian 1-cent coin. The Canadian penny has been a staple of the country's currency since 1858. The famous maple leaf design has been in circulation since 1937, making it one of the most recognizable coin designs in Canada. The 2006 penny was minted during the final years of penny production before Canada officially stopped issuing them in 2012 due to rising production costs. The 2006 penny is particularly interesting because it was struck in two different compositions, copper-plated zinc and copper-plated steel. This means that there are slight variations, and some versions are rarer than others. Design and composition of the 2006 Canadian penny. The 2006 Canadian 1-cent coin follows the traditional design seen in most pennies from previous decades, obverse, front. A portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Susanna Blunt. This version of the Queen's portrait, introduced in 2003, does not include a crown, making it unique from earlier designs. Reverse, back. The iconic maple leaves on a twig, designed by G.E. Kruger Gray, which has been used on Canadian pennies since 1937. Composition. Copper-plated zinc version, weighs 2.25 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Copper-plated steel version, slightly different in weight and magnetic due to its steel core. Because of these two different compositions, some 2006 pennies will be non-magnetic, zinc, while others will be magnetic, steel. Mintage and rarity. The Royal Canadian Mint produced 1,256,403,000 pennies in 2006, making it a very common coin. However, some versions of this penny are more desirable than others. Magnetic versus non-magnetic. The magnetic steel version is more common, while the non-magnetic zinc version is scarcer and sought after by collectors. Proof and specimen coins. The Royal Canadian Mint also released proof and specimen sets in 2006, which contain higher quality coins meant for collectors. These versions are more valuable than regular circulation coins. Minting errors. Some 2006 pennies have errors such as die cracks, off-center strikes, and doubling, which can significantly increase their worth. Current market value of the 2006 Canadian 1-cent coin. Most 2006 Canadian pennies found in circulation are still worth face value, but certain factors can make them more valuable. Circulated condition. $100 to $200, uncirculated condition, MS-60 to MS-64. $90 to $160, high-grade mint state, MS-65 or higher. $200 to $400 or more. Proof and specimen coins. $500 to $700 depending on condition and demand, rare errors and variants. Some 2006 pennies with notable errors have sold for $1,000 or more at auctions. If you want to check whether your 2006 penny is rare, try using a magnet. If your coin does not stick to the magnet, it is a non-magnetic zinc version, which could be more valuable to collectors. Should you keep your 2006 Canadian penny? Although the 2006 penny is common, finding one in pristine condition or with a rare error could make it valuable. Since Canada stopped producing pennies in 2012, these coins are becoming harder to find, and collectors are starting to take an interest in them. If you have a 2006 penny, it might be worth holding on to it, especially if it's in mint condition or a rare variant. Conclusion. The 2006 Canadian 1-cent coin might seem like just another penny, but it holds some hidden value depending on its condition, composition, and possible mint errors. Checking your change for non-magnetic zinc versions or error coins could lead to an exciting discovery. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on rare and valuable coins. Let us know in the comments if you found any interesting Canadian pennies in your collection. Happy collecting!